Okay, we are back to talk about movies. This time it's the worst of 2023. Find out my ranking right now. Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's talk about the worst films of 2023. Yeah, the worst. You're just the worst. Well, before we begin, I am your host, Frank Zenka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, comic book writer, and a line producer, though not lately. Now that the strikes are over, I am ready to get back to work. Yeah, if you want to see some of the stuff that I've written, it's behind me. So before we get into it, though, if you have seen my last video, the best of, then you already know what's coming. My Christmas present to myself finally came in. So this is my new addition to my Hot Toys, even though this is not Hot Toys. It's by Miramax or whatever. In fact, the face is not as good as some of the faces on the Hot Toys thing. But I'm a big Uma Thurman fan, and this is really the only thing that they've ever put out with her likeness on it. As opposed to, I'm not a fan of her Poison Ivy at all, but this is about the only other thing that they did. And then I am putting together a Ethan Hunt figure, but I have to do it piece by piece because nobody's done a full figure of him yet. So I just got the head sculpt in, and I think that looks pretty good. And I have the clothes coming, and I just need to get the body and the stand and all that stuff. So I'll keep everybody informed as I build that one out. All right, so let's jump into the worst films of 2023. We've had a lot of ups and downs in 2023. Actors going crazy. Actors Me Tooing other male actors. And screwing up Aquaman completely by doing so. Then we had the strikes that lasted forever. It's been a really tumultuous year for film, that's for sure. And I've been kind of in the middle of it, unfortunately. Let's hope we get a nice, even-keeled 2024. I have doing a couple. I just did a rewrite of the film, and I just did some budget, so I'm hoping that the money comes in for some of those so I can get working and get back on set. So let's get into it. Before we do, though, I want to explain how I rank these things. So if a film is like a complete disappointment, if I like the franchise, but the film comes out and it's a complete disappointment, it definitely ranks up there for me. If it's a film that I think is just bad in general, and if I walk into a room and somebody else is watching, I'll probably walk out. That's how I gotta rank these things. Again, I look at things a little bit differently because I go to movies based on, how far they take me away from the real world. So, this I'll kind of explain why I think the films are bad that I get into as I go through this. But there was a couple of honorable mentions, like The Shift. I thought that was completely preachy, and it almost made the list. And unfortunate that it was that close, especially when Angel Studios did. They distributed Sound of Freedom. They didn't make it. This was an Angel original. This one, but that's not going to make. That was like on the cusp. And then Murder Mystery 2 was also on the cusp because I felt like everybody kind of dialed that one in. So this is going to have some streaming movies on it as well. So let's jump right into it with number 12, because I'm going to do 12, not 10. This is Five Nights at Freddys. And I know a lot of people really like that movie, but I was completely disappointed with it. I went to go see a horror movie. I did not get a horror movie. I got some kind of watered down, I don't know what the hell it was by the time it was over. I didn't get it. And I know it's based on a video game, but I saw it more based on Chuck E. Cheese, which I was very familiar with from the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, oh, wow, we get murder androids from, Chuck E. Cheese. That's awesome. And I went in there, and it wasn't a horror movie. There was barely any killing. There was barely anything. I was totally confused by the whole thing. Why this film even existed. But it's made some ton of money, and a lot of people really like it. And I think it was just made for a younger audience, which is why I didn't get it. But anyway, that's why it's down on the list for me, because it was disappointing to me. And I'm glad it made money. Any film that makes money that's not destroying an IP, I'm all for. And if this thing stuck to the IP and everybody was happy with it, good. I'm happy it did well. But for me, it didn't work. All right, so number 11. Sticking with the horror genre, The Nun 2. The Nun has so much potential. The Conjuring is a great series. All right, I like a lot of the movies in the Conjuring series, and The Nun has such an amazing look. An amazing look. They have such great actors in this thing, but they are not taking the time to build out the lore, to make the thing coherent. I do think this was a little bit better than the first movie, but there's still no storyline there. It was good to see the actress that was from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I haven't seen her since she was in Rain, the CW show. But I wish I could see more of her. I wish she did, a little more films. But yeah, it's so much potential with that IP, and they just keep dropping the ball. Why can't they get a good writer on that? The imagery is all great, but none of it makes any sense. None of what they do makes any sense. And that's why it's on my number 11, unfortunately. And if they make a third one, because I think this one made money too, if they make a third one, please get a damn good writer in there. My God. All right, so let's go. We're at the number 10 already. Let's jump into number 10. Renfield. I know a lot of people like this movie, but I thought it was just silly. And I thought that Nicholas Hoult, he played pretty much the same thing as in Warm Bodies. And Nicolas Cage, so we have two Nicholases, I didn't realize that. So Nicolas Cage did a great job as Dracula, but it's all over the top. Awkwafina was completely miscast in this thing. She's miscast in most things. No, she was fine in Crazy Rich Asians. I think she was in that. And playing the voice of the Last Dragon, I thought that was. I thought she did an okay job with that one. But yeah, so she's really miscast in here. She's a short little cop. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. And she's supposed to be kicking ass, and she's like 5 foot. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, for me, the film was just silly, and that's why it ranks up here at number 10 of the worst. All right, so moving on to number 9. And again, I know people like this movie. Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was completely disillusioned by this film. I thought I was going to see a Hunger Games movie. Instead, we get an origin story for the villain. And I don't care. I don't care about having an origin story for the villain. We already know how he turns out. That's the whole thing why I thought that the prequels was a waste of time. I already know how Darth Vader turns out. I don't need to see it. And you definitely don't need to go backwards to show me. And after this movie, so the Hunger Games takes place all in one location. What a waste. It was all just a waste. And then I thought the movie was over. I'm ready to get out of my seat. I'm done. And it just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, is this movie ever going to end? Anyway, I did not like this film at all. And again, I know there are people that did. I'm just not one of them. And I read the original books. I'm a big fan of the original movies, but this was just not it. For me, it was just not it. All right, so jumping on to number 8. So Ben Affleck's in my top 10. He's also in my bottom 10. Hypnotic. I really like the idea behind this movie because I have a character in my Shadow Raven universe that also has a very similar power, and there was a lot you could do with this kind of a movie and this kind of a plot line, and they dropped the ball pretty much 100%. To tell you the truth, I can't even remember half the film at this point. And it's unfortunate because, Ben Affleck's a decent actor, but he has such these ups and downs about, these projects that he picks. And, some of it works and some of it just really doesn't. This is just one of those ones that just really doesn't. And it could have been good. I remember that there was some good elements in there, like the actor that they played to be the villain. I thought he was pretty good. But overall, the film just did not work. And now we'll move on. That was number 8. Number 7. This is a movie that I just remembered while I was doing the top 12 of 2023. I remembered this film. And that is Rebel Moon. Oh my God, this movie was just bad at all levels. Just all levels of bad. From the design work, to the costumes, to the world building, it was all bad. Sofia Boutella, she really tried. There wasn't much for her to work with. There wasn't much for any of the actors to work with. We got Charlie Hunnam with a bad accent. I don't even know what he was trying to play, some kind of Irish person in space. We had plows in a futuristic world and horses. How they got there, I don't know. How does Earth horses get up on another planet? Not a clue. At least with one of the Star Wars movies where they had horses, at least they didn't look like horses completely, like it was exact. So yeah, it was just bad overall. The plot did not work. It was a Magnificent Seven ripoff that, they literally, every time we went to a new planet, everybody just sat there and watched the next guy do whatever he had to do. They even had a battle scene with the Asian chick, and everybody just stood there going, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Are you going to help me here? No, I'm just oohing and eyeing for that's what it says in the script. Zack Snyder has, at this point in time, has just lost his mind. He has just lost his mind. So yeah, that's it should probably be even lower on this list because it's just a horrendous film. If they make the second part of that, if they actually release the second part, then the guys at Netflix. If they release a Zack Snyder cut of this thing that's 4 or 5 hours long, I know that they've completely lost their head. And the execs at Netflix need to jump out the window and end it themselves. All right, number 6. Woo, 6. Ant-Man Quantumania. Another movie that's just objectively bad. And I don't think anybody would contest that, even the actors. I mean, this movie makes no sense. It forgets the part that he was in Endgame, that he was in the quantum realm for 5 years. We don't even remember that part. Suddenly now there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. We have Kang in there. Why? I have no idea. And then, we have his daughter that's now grown up and can build stuff in the basement. We have Michelle Pfeiffer's character that doesn't even reveal information. It's just, and then of course we have Evangeline Lilly that went through, garden shears on her head. I don't know what the hell happened. Whoever her hairdresser is, she needs to never go there again. I mean, she looked like a teenage boy. I'm like, please put your helmet back on. Please put the helmet back. The hood, whatever you can do to cover your head, just do it. I don't know how you take a beautiful woman and make her look like a 12-year-old boy. I mean, you can even see that I have the figure behind me. Well, I think even the writer on that, he's even fired. He was supposed to do some other films, of course. Majors has gone from the role, so there isn't much you can do with the whole Kang Dynasty thing anyway. And, everybody who worked on this film should be fired. So we'll never see another Ant-Man movie again, unfortunately. The last movie wasn't even that good either. After the scene in the restaurant, the movie was over. And it's unfortunate, too, because Wasp was such a great character. All right, moving on to the top, bottom five. The top, bottom five. I love it. I just came up with that. All right, so Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dissectomy. Yes, this movie was horrendous. Also, we had some. I don't know why we even made this film. It was purely a cash grab situation because Kathleen Kennedy had destroyed Star Wars so badly she had no idea where to move to, so she had to move into the other Lucasfilm properties, which she promptly destroyed as well. We had Willow that was so bad that they literally took it off the channel, the streaming channel, just to get a write down on it. Wow. I didn't even watch it, but it must have been pretty damn bad. Not to mention all of the really bad CGI in this film with the running on the train and jumping. It was god awful. Everybody said, well, the age down was good. I thought that was horrendous also. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was just insufferable through the entire film. Trying to redeem her, it didn't work. But I heard originally they were supposed to have Short Round and Karen Allen in it. Even Karen Allen said that she was supposed to, when she talked to Spielberg told her that she was going to have a big part, and it got relegated to like 2 scenes. Just bad. So, you know, they brought in the wrong people to try to do creative on that. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge is one of them. So, yeah, but we haven't heard... and that, just even putting time travel into an Indiana Jones film is a bad idea. I don't know why they have to put sci-fi. There's so much more you can do. Supernatural works in Indiana Jones. Sci-fi does not. And time travel is a sci-fi device. So bad. So bad that thank God this movie lost so many hundreds of millions of dollars that we will never see Harrison Ford in the hat again. Thank God. And I hope that nobody ever gets in that hat again. That needs to be retired. I forgot what it was. Was it Back to the Future or whatever else? There was some of the creators said that, no, I'll make sure we never see a remake. There's no reason to remake films. Come up with something new. And if you want to come up with an Indiana Jones-like character, like Tomb Raider, go ahead and do that, but it's not Indiana Jones. Call it something else. Go on and build something of your own. Stop taking stuff from the past and trying to make it for a new audience and losing money on it, because that's all you're going to do. It's called the film business for a reason, because they're supposed to make money. Just saying. All right, but not that some of these movies that I have on my list didn't make any money, because some of them have. And, all right, so of course, The Nun also made money, but down further on the list, some of them did. All right, so we're going to jump into number 4. And you're going to see, there's obviously a bunch of superhero ones on this one. All right, so Blue Beetle. What a horrible movie. I am not a fan of the character. This character and Miss Marvel, to me, are the same type of character, where the character is very annoying. And these characters don't work in comics, and they keep throwing them back into other things. Why make a film about a character that didn't even work in the comic books is beyond me. You're supposed to, when you go into a genre, you're supposed to pull out the stuff that's successful. Don't pull out the stuff that's not successful. But they're pulling out these characters because they wanted to hit the Latin market. And it didn't work. See, when you go to a tentpole type of film, you've got to hit everyone, because you've got to get as close to that $1 billion mark as possible when you have these huge budgets. But if you don't make a film for everyone, then you're making it for a small niche of people, and the movie's automatically going to lose money because nobody's interested. So anyway, that Blue Beetle, like I said before, if you made an original Blue Beetle with Booster Gold and you made it a buddy comedy, I think that would work. Those two together in the comics always worked. But this version of Blue Beetle never has worked, never will work, and I'll be surprised if we ever see this character ever again on film. It just, there's no need for it. It doesn't It's already Iron Man for the most part, and you're not doing anything new with it. He doesn't even do anything to get the powers. He finds it, like another character from Marvel comes in the mail. You have to earn the powers, or it doesn't work. Finding it in a box does not propel a character. If Iron Man had found his Iron Man suit in a box, he would not be as popular as he is. We got to see the struggle, and that's what's missing in these new superheroes, is that they're lazy. Their origin stories are just plain lazy. They have the powers already. They just got to learn how to use them, or whatever. Then we had the whole family dynamic here, and we had the militant grandmother. Oh my God, the movie went off the rails so many times. The girlfriend was hot. Was about the extent of it. Well, that's not what I'm going to say about Blue Beetle. All right, going on to number 3. Let's go to Disney. Woo, Disney! Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite rides on Disney. And it has so much potential. I know they did a previous film already that I think did better than this one. But this one had Rosario Dawson. We had Tiffany Haddish, who I worked with before she even had a name. And, we had Danny DeVito, Wilson there. And, we had so many great actors in this thing. And the plot and everything else was just hard to watch. It was just hard to watch. And I actually saw it in the theater. And just a total letdown from what they could have done because now they had the effects to work with. Maybe they didn't have that, in the original film. And, yeah, it was just plain bad. Just plain bad. All right. Number 2. Woo! Number 2. What's it going to be? I don't know. What's it going to be? I know on the female side, this is probably their number 1. But for me, it's pretty close to the bottom of the list. And that is Barbie. I absolutely abhor this film. I hate it with such a passion that it's crazy. And I know a lot of other men do as well. It was not made for us. If I wasn't reviewing it, I would definitely not have gone. I probably shouldn't have gone anyway. I just about got out of there in my life. There were portions of the film where I thought I was going to get lynched. I thought I was pretty much the only male in there. I had to literally slide down my seat at times because I was afraid that people were looking at me. I mean, this was a male-bashing film to the nth degree. Greta Gerwig knows how to make those kind of films, I guess. But yeah, so this was not for me, and I hated every minute of it. The only reason that it's not number 1 is because the set design was so great. The set design really was great. And in fact, in the beginning of the film, I had hopes for it because here we are in Barbie world, and we're showing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, Ken is being treated like shit over and over and over again. It was just bad. All right, and I'm sure that I've heard other people's women's reviews, and they just loved the thing. And made $1.8 billion or whatever else. It made huge buku amount of money. So there are obviously a lot of people that did love it. Women were taking their friends to it. They were seeing it multiple times. And if they felt it was empowering, great. But this is my list, not your list. And for me, it's on the bottom of the barrel. All right, we're to number 1, people. We made it to number 1. What's number 1? Going back to Disney again. Woo, Disney. So Disney's on this list like 3-4 times, right? Let's see. We got Ant-Man, Indiana Jones, Haunted Mansion, and here we go again. Wow. Good job. I didn't even see Wish. I didn't even see it. So I can't even count that. And that is the Marvels. Biggest disappointment for me because I am one of the few people that like the original Captain Marvel. So I was going in there even with a low expectation. And to see Brie Larson play the role again, I am a huge Monica Rambeau fan. In fact, even despite the movie being bad, if they make a Hot Toys of her, I'm probably going to buy it. And Miss Marvel for me is just whatever. In fact, I heard she just showed it to my comic shop back in LA that I used to go to do a signing for her new book. Because, of course, actors can just write. And she just wrote a comic book. Whatever. So, but she had a line around the block for signing. So I'm sure she's a great person. I'm sure she's going to have a really great career. But the character that she plays just doesn't do anything for me. And it hasn't, again, that's another character that just has not worked in the comics for decades. They keep trying to throw her. In fact, they just killed her off in the comics. They threw her into Spider-Man. She didn't even have her own title when they killed her off. They threw her into Spider-Man because that was their highest selling book for her to die. And, of course, they brought her right back and made her a mutant instead, which is how she is in the TV show or whatever. Because I guess they're looking to bring her into X-Men now. Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, The Marvels was a complete letdown. The movie made absolutely no sense whatsoever. It was basically a ripoff of Spaceballs as far as the plot's concerned. Suck, suck, suck. Oh no, she got turned to blow. Whatever, man. Oh, it was. You can't put an atmosphere and water and everything else just into another system. It doesn't work that way. Oh man, Nia DaCosta there. I don't know what's going on with your career, but you need to go to back to lower budget stuff for sure. It's unfortunate because I think if it was just a Monica Rambeau movie and Captain Marvel, and it had some semblance of the comics, they haven't really made a good. That's the other thing, is that they're really. If I could, I've been collecting Captain Marvel for years upon years, and if I had to point to one comic, you know what they should have gone back to is the Miss Marvel. So before she was Captain Marvel, she was Miss Marvel, and then, of course, the new Miss Marvel came in and took the name when she had Captain Marvel. I know it's kind of confusing, but originally she was in a coma for years and years and years because Rogue from the X-Men had held on to her too long, and took her powers permanently, and she was in Rogue's head. So it was a portion of her that was missing. And I think that if you had gone along that route where she had to fight Rogue, and that would lead into, oh my God, they should have done that. Now that I think about that, oh my God, because they're bringing in the X-Men, they could have had Rogue come in as a villain in the Marvels. Oh my God, why didn't they do that? Oh my God, that would have set up the whole X-Men thing instead of having Beast at the end. And then she would have had to go to Xavier at the end of the film. Because that's what happens. That's why she becomes a good guy, Rogue, is because Professor Xavier has to go in her head and cut off Carol. Because Carol is completely part of her at this point. Oh my God, I just wrote a perfect Marvels film! Oh my God, now that I think about that, why? Everybody would have seen it then if we were setting up the X-Men. And not just setting it up in a post-credit scene, but throughout the entire film. Wow. Now I hate that movie even more. And I just came up with that just reviewing it. I didn't have 2 years to write a script for it. Oh my God. And then at the end, she could have been in the coma. Oh my God. It would have, and that would, then everybody would have wanted a sequel out of that. Damn it. Damn it. I hate this movie. All right, well, that's it for me. I've had enough. I quit. Oh, now I'm going to have that in my back of my head this whole time. Damn, what an opportunity. What a missed opportunity. Wow. Tell me if you guys agree with that, now that I just came up with it. If you're familiar with the X-Men and Rogue's origin and all that stuff. Man. All right, so I gotta stop thinking about that because it's never gonna happen. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Give me the middle finger. Give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Help me grow this channel out so that you can hear me rant more and more. Also, remember that in January we're going to be launching the, if you missed out on Lords of LA, we're going to do a new launch on that for a late pledge. And Mark Spears and I also are working on the Classic Monsters Riftstorm card game that I'm going to release probably in March. I'm trying to get a hold of some people to do reviews. I'll put up the card. We just got the graphic design in, the final graphic design for the card. So it has the pylons and all that stuff from Frankenstein and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and watching me go through these rants. And if I'm wrong on all these things, just let me know. I can take it. Believe me, I can take it. Or if you have a worse film that's even worse than the Marvels, let me know that too. Also, you'll watch some of my other videos will pop up here as well. Take a look at some of those. And thank you again, and Happy New Year, everybody. All right, talk to you later. All right, bye-bye.